Okay, let's start making the cast skill. First, go to our RPG, then in-game, then in Canby. We'll give it a new skill called cast. Of course, we need an animation. Actually, it depends on your preference. You can use whichever one you like. Let's use this one. We'll go to character, then hero, then animation. We can use this cast. We can attach it to a not this one. This one seems a bit too big. This one looks pretty good. But let's just use this one. Yeah, let's use this one. Because if I use this animation, I would have to position this orb position it at the tip of this stuff to look better. I don't want to bother positioning that thing. So I'll just create an anim montage for it. Then for this montage, we drag it here. We drag it in. It should be game first. We should just drag it here. Okay, let's erase this. And here, we call it AMANSDAST. Then for this ability, we haven't defined it yet, right? So let's define this ability. Here we just inherit from gameplay ability. It should inherit from the one starting with XRPG. We call it GECase cast. Okay, note that for this cast, let me think about it. We should also register on our end. Let's get the registration done first. For this registration, we'll put it here. First, find our character accumulation. The character accumulation is here. The character accumulation is at this position. Since the character accumulation is here, we find it. We are here. We have one here. We input XG. Then we are here. We register an ability. As for this ability, we are the input. We just use K1, and this ability corresponds. It is casting this ability. Then, after we register, we also need to add our input action, because we need to do dual and binding. So here we find, if it's a key press, we just paste it casually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then we have the input action, and we give it a K1. And as for this part, here is K2. This is K3, okay? Here is K4. After finishing, we go to our tone table here. Then 1. Then here we give it a 1. Then here we note we are 1. Okay, then we add another one. These have to be added one by one because it does not allow empty fields. Empty fields will cause an error. 2. This place was changed incorrectly. Here is 2. Then we give it a 3. Input action 3. Okay, let's change this again. E3 here is 3. Then let's add a 4. Okay, so this after 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all done. After that is finished, we actually still can't activate it yet because we haven't done the flow yet. So let's go back to our character here. We find the character. It should be here in character. We should have a few methods here. Did we write them or not? We already wrote them. Right, so we wrote it. This part is fine because we already bound it. When this implexing occurs, it will activate this K1. Then it will look for the corresponding ability. Now, let's start it up. Okay, we've started it up again. Then we go back to our Sambi this cast here. Then we prepare a bullet class here. We'll just write it together. We should call it, let me check. It should be XDRPD. Hey, it should be this one. It should be it. Then we call it BP. Cast bullet. It is a bullet class. Then, after opening it, you will find it has already helped us create some things. And actually, Here, add a portable system to it. That's it. The projectile system is the old one. This example system, but it can still be used. Can be used. This is fine. Then this example system, we select P attack. We are off trail. We find this. It should be this one. That's it. Just find it. Then let's take a look here. There shouldn't be anything we need to do. Let's save it. Then we mainly check this cast default. Is the movement of this reply enabled? It's usually enabled. Then it's fine. And then 因此无为 cast. We find the frame where it's thrown up by hand. Okay, let's just put it here. Here we add it to our notify. It should be this apply difficult alphafy. Then we just give it this mono. We won't give it anything else. Let's take a look now, whether it spawns correctly. Good. Here we need to replace it with our bullet class. Change it to start with our BP. This is good. For this part here, we need to change something here. Because by default, it's set to melee attack. So there should be a parameter we wrote ourselves. It shouldn't be found here. We need to change it to direct line. That way it will have trigger speed. Now, let's take another look. Good. Okay. And then for this part, let's check here, it seems. This part seems to be due to the turning. Let's check it. Since there is this issue, I'll explain to you what caused this issue. It's because in this place, this anim notify, we find our anim notify here. We are right here. Actually, it will still trigger here. You can set a breakpoint. We can't hit this breakpoint right now, can we? I'll restart it here. Let it hit this breakpoint. Okay, we've hit this breakpoint now. Then let me show you something interesting. We can see we've entered. You will find it is how it is here. That is to say, it will actually fail here. It will fail. Then you actually need to adjust it here. Its angle, because its axis is actually different from the axis in the game. It is not quite the same. So we will just ignore it for now. Yes, let's ignore it for now, because it will, as long as it is normal in the event. If you are making that kind of skill chart, that is to say they often work on GIS. They will develop supporting tools. This is a previewable online interface, like this one, a dedicated editor. World editor development. You can learn relevant knowledge. Our team will just ignore it. Okay? We can a little bigger. Let's set it to 50. Look, set this to 50. Okay, let's see. It should be about right. Good. From now on, we come to our cast. Let's take a look at the code here. How should we write it? The code here is very simple. I personally prefer to write it this way. We'll do it the same as before, because we must check this part. You can use this result to make a judgment, and here we need to commit yes, and then here we give an end, and if it expires, we just enter the ability. If it succeeds, we will only submit here. And actually, in this place, there are also things like committability and some other similar ones, or the like, because its functionality is a bit different. Then we will do this monitoring for you shortly. So please don't worry. We can use this here because this skill allows needs to handle both cost and expansion. And then at this point, we play this montage. And then we promote it to a variable. For this one, we need to set it to 1.0. Okay, after setting this to 1.0, for our montage here, we can just select this cost. Okay, and finally, no matter what, as long as the animation state changes, we consider this ability to be finished, because this ability actually does not directly participate in damage calculation. We just wanted to play this animation. Now let's test it. Let's test it. Actually, we don't need to open 2 players here. We can see it seems like pressing this one has no effect. Let's check it. Let's do a code check. Actually, this ability is registered. Why is there no effect? Then did we miss something? It's a connection from start to end. We must have missed a step. So let's check one by one. It must be my old habit. I missed this input action. Sometimes interviewers will ask you about this input action and the traditional key binding, the input system in UE4 vs UE5. What is the difference between them and which one is better? At this point, he will ask you at this moment. This input action is very easy to use, but sometimes it can be very fragmented. That is, it is easy to configure in a scattered way, but the traditional set is too traditional. If you want to write a slightly complex function, you have to write it yourself. But now, with this enhanced input system, many things are already written for you. That's what it means. Let's try it now. You see, our damage should be calculated correctly, right? Take a look at this. You will notice this place. Did we cause double damage again? So the reason for this double damage, you can definitely get this point because it's clearly right here. We forgot to do this thing. We need to select bridge point. Otherwise, this double damage is really a headache. Okay, so right here you can see here we successfully dealt damage to both objects. Right, let's kill this object. We had a blue bar display back before. Let's check if this bug still exists. Sure enough, it's still there, right? It seems to be switching this. The actors are not refreshing. Let's ignore it for now. We'll investigate in the next lesson what exactly is going on with this bug. Okay, so that's all for today's lesson. We've given you a range scale. You can see the effect is pretty good. Okay, so that's all for today's lesson. Thank you, everyone.